Yo, I am going to teach you how to do this. So first, we're going to outline the build, some of the things you want to go for. And then I'm going to jump into a run and commentate it, and hopefully not have to reset too many times. Alright. So your first choice, before you're even in a game, is which shell you're going to play. What I'm going to be playing is Bloodfang, because I think he's the fastest. But you can play any of them that you want to play. I think Koenig is the slowest. I think Meteor is the weirdest and probably the most difficult to get a good time on. He also only uses heavy weapons, which is pretty different from the other guys. So I'm not really going to talk about him for the rest of the guide. But you can go fast on him if you want to go fast on him. Alright, so the first choice you'll come across in the game is your weapon unlock after wave 1. The two weapons you're looking for are either Bloom Cannon or Geist Rifle. And these are just the two highest DPS weapons in the early game. Nothing else is really close to them. So, you always want to pick one of these two. You can pick either one. They're like surprisingly equal in strength, in my opinion. You can't go wrong with either one of them. After that, let's talk about specials. So there's 8 specials, and you're always looking for one of them, Blood Temple. Since there are only 8 specials, you're actually really likely to see Blood Temple in your run. It's about a 40% chance without any rerolls at all, and then add in a couple rerolls, you see it very often. So you aren't resetting you aren't resetting because you didn't get Blood Temple very often. But if you don't get Blood Temple, definitely just reset. None of the other specials can really compete with it. The gist of the build is you get Blood Temple, you stack up the Blood Temple stacks. That costs HP. So you want to stack as much healing as you can get to get back HP, to then feed into Blood Temple to give you damage. And there's a couple ways that are really good to get HP. The first one we'll talk about is in the shell protocols. It's Strike Reflex. This one. So crits have a chance to get special charge. Now, Blood Temple doesn't have special charges, since it costs HP. So when you proc this, it gives you back 20% HP. So it's like a crazy healing from this. It's very, very good. The other way you'll get a lot of healing is from Lightstone. It gives you HP. This gives you 5 HP on reload. And once you get juiced up with Blood Temple stacks, you're attacking a lot, you're reloading a lot. This heals you for a lot. So it's very good. And then I'd say right at the start of the mid game is when you get your first resonance. And there's a couple resonances that heal. The first one's Purification. And this will also give you HP back on reload. However, this only gives you 1 HP back. So the healing from this is a little bit weaker, but the damage effect on it is actually pretty good. I think it's a good one. What I've started doing more recently, though, is I go for Equilibrium right here. And what that does is when you kill an enemy, occasionally there'll be like a beam of light. If you go stand in the beam of light, it ticks for 5 HP. I don't know what the exact rate is, but it feels like about once every second, maybe once every 2 seconds, something like that. The healing is very good though. So unless you get like an insane amount of light stones, I would build towards Equilibrium first for your resonances. Yeah, after that, I think the other thing that is good to talk about is stats, because they might be a little counterintuitive. What Blood Temple does is it boosts your damage, attack speed, and crit stats. And basically all the stats in the game stack additively with themselves. And what that means when you're selecting your stats on level up is selecting more damage, attack speed, or crit. It just gives you like really low value. So I would avoid doing that. What gives big value is physical damage or elemental damage, depending on if you picked Geist Rifle, it's elemental, so some elemental damage can be good. If you pick Bloom Cannon, then like basically all your damage is physical at the start, so physical damage is good. Since this is a speed run, and we're concerned with going fast, you don't really want to get any of the defensive stats. In fact, getting max HP, I think is bad, because a lot of the healing in the game is just a flat amount of healing. It doesn't scale with your max HP, whereas the cost of Blood Temple does scale with your max HP. So if you stack a bunch of max health, your Blood Temple will become more expensive, and a lot of your sources of healing won't keep up with it. Armor, just don't worry about block down. Yeah, don't worry about other defensives. Potency is another one that's really good. It's a damage stat that you don't get from Blood Temple, so stacking a bunch of potency is good. However, the two main stats you're looking for are range and speed. I don't think speed's on here. Dodge is also good, but it's basically stats to get your shell around the map more quickly, or increase your effective range just so you can kill mobs more quickly. So those are the stats we're looking for in the run. And one more thing I want to mention, once you get deep into the run, you pick your second weapon. The one you're looking for is Fate Weaver. And if you're playing a class that uses a heavy weapon, the one you're looking for is Gaze of Ruin. The reason you want these is they hit really hard. You can probably use other ones, but they hit really hard, and what we're going to do is apply the liquefaction resonance to it. That makes your attacks apply burning damage proportional to critical strike chance. I think this also scales with the weapon's attack. It seems to do that anyways. I think it's like your weapon attack times your crit chance. Could be wrong on that, but the other thing about those two weapons is their potency is discharge, which is, I think, a really good potency. And the reason for doing that is if you kill the last boss quickly enough, you can skip his second phase. And it's actually pretty difficult to do enough damage to do that normally, but when he's in his like phasing animation where you usually can't do any other damage to him, burning damage continues to tick on him. So if you apply a huge burn to him, it'll tick on him while he's phasing, and then just kill him before he fully phases and refills his life bar. And that saves a good amount of time. Alright, now I'm going to jump in and commentate a run. And on these early waves, it's nice to pick up the sparks, so you get enough XP to level up. But the most important thing is when the last wave of mobs spawn to bring you over the counter, you want to make sure you're close to them so you can kill them as quickly as possible. Here, potency is really good. Grab some potency. We got Geist Rifle, so we're going to pick that. You see I delayed my boost a little bit there. And that was so I could use the reload component of it. The boss fight isn't long enough that I can boost twice. So you get to basically just pick where you want your attack speed boost, or attack speed from the boost. So I just let myself shoot a couple times and then reload my weapons, and then also still get full use out of the attack speed buff. Alright, here we're going for Equilibrium, which is 2 purple, 2 white. So we're going to grab the purple, put it in Crimson Duet. Here, early in the waves, like I said, just running around making sure I'm picking up all the XP I can. As the wave nears the end, you'll want to position so that you finish off the mob count as quickly as possible. Which I didn't do perfectly there, but that's what you want to shoot for. Alright, so these are 2 stats that are buffed by Blood Temple. Personally, I think picking attack speed is a little bit better than picking pure damage, just because it'll reload faster, and proc things faster. Whereas the plus damage, you're eventually going to be like one-shotting most things anyways, so it's kind of whatever. Here, I'll pick the dodge. That'll give me better uptime on my attack speed buff as Bloodfang. And range. Range is really good. We're looking for as much range as we can get, basically. Alright, first set of shell protocols. We don't have anything... We could pick up Drain here for some healing. However, with the first shell protocol, I think Chaotic Strike is really, really strong. And you'll see why here. Well, not here, but it's kind of whatever for the boss waves. But for... I'll show you on the next wave. Wave 5 is usually pretty slow. And Chaotic Strike will just nukes back some mobs down. It's really good. Alright, so we're going for that Equilibrium. So we got the white gem. We're going to pick the white gem. Here, I'm going to try to mobs cooperate, corral them together as much as possible so that when that Chaotic Strike activates, or, you know, the Shatter procs on my Crimson Duets, the mobs are together so that as many of them as possible get hit by it. We'll see if we can get any procs in the wave of ads here. It doesn't really go... I think it's proc in though. Alright, yeah, these three are all whatever. Attack speed's the only one increases damage. We pick that. Range, very good. Picking range. Physical damage, that's pretty good. Picking physical damage. And we reroll for Blood Temple. No Blood Temple. There's the Blood Temple. And I guess I should have explained there. I knew that the next wave was a boss wave. So what I did, I activate Blood Temple 3 times. That takes 60% of my HP. And then I boost to give myself the attack speed buff and kill the boss as quickly as possible. And you'll do that same set of actions on basically every boss wave. Right here, grab some more physical damage. We got another white gem. We don't even have the option to pick up a purple gem. If I did see a purple gem here, I'd probably pick that over this, but otherwise this is pretty good. And the reason I would do that is to leave room for the Lightstone. I did get one on the next gem unlock. Also, just the plus damage on the purple gems is probably better than anything on the white gems right now. Alright, gonna pick up range here. Range is good. Pick range again. I have Blood Temple, so both the crit and the damage are kind of low value. I can pick the elemental damage. I'll probably just pick the flat damage here, but none of these are really going to do a whole lot for me. So, Strike Reflex. This is incredible. This is probably the best one I wanted to see on this Show Protocol pick. What it's going to do is give me back a ton of HP, so I can use more Blood Temples. Alright, here we go. You didn't really see it on that wave, but yeah, this is really awkward because I got a Lightstone and I got a purple one to complete the light wells. I think I should probably pick this one, but I want to show you guys the light wells, so I'm gonna pick the Onyx. Yeah. I might have enough healing in my build that the choice doesn't really matter. And you'll see here, I'm just looking for the light wells that are spawning. I'm standing in them, spamming up my Blood Temple stacks. I'm making sure to keep track of my HP, because if you just slam Blood Temple, you can kill yourself super easily. So I try to hang out around like half. And yeah. Wave over here. As the wave's ending, you can go down to really low HP. Stacks will carry over into the next one, so it's good to have as many stacks as you can. Speed is good here. The dodge might be a little better. Yeah, I'll take the dodge. But speed is also good here if I didn't have any other good options. So I can get around the map faster. Range, that's exactly what I want to see. Physical damage, pick that up. So second weapon, we got the Fate Weaver. That's what we want to see. Pick the Fate Weaver. Alright, grab some more physical damage. Now, what I would like to go for my second resonance is probably the Purification. Not really for the healing, but I think the damage effect on it's pretty good for clearing waves quickly. But I didn't get any light stones here, so I'm basically just picking the one I think is best out of these. I'd say it's probably the potency. Discharge is really strong. I get the percent damage on here, so I'll pick the discharge. Yeah, I mean the name of the game now is basically just try to keep my blood temple stacks up, dash around when I can, get as much healing as I can, and just try not to kill myself by over spamming blood temple. Yeah, all these are completely useless. I'm not going to spend a reroll on it, but the one thing I'll say is here, do not pick max health. Max health is bad, because the cost of blood temple will scale with your max health, but a lot of your sources of healing will not scale with your max health, so end up paying more health and healing less relative HP. So don't pick max health. All right, here, these are all kind of whatever. I think I'll just grab the damage. Alright, the only one you're really looking at here is Power Cycle, and Power Cycle's pretty good. We're reloading a lot, so we'll have high uptime on this buff. And this buff is 50% damage. So, it does stack additively, so it's not like you're doing actually 50% more damage. In this case, it would put me up to 210% or 215%. So it would be, what, more like a 20-something% damage increase in reality. But that's what I'm gonna pick. Another good one is Eagle Eye, which is the same 50% damage buff, except for it's reduced by 5% for every mob that's close to you, but mobs don't really get close to you very often or for very long, so you'll have 50% damage like basically all the time. The reason I like it more too is it's always up for the bosses, whereas your Power Cycle is not necessarily always going to be up for the boss. Since I don't have Flee, I'll pick the dodge here. If you have Flee, you'll have like hella dodges, so the increasing it more won't really be useful at this point. But I'm going to grab it. Here, potency is great. I'm grabbing the potency at this point. Alright, I'm going for Purification on my Geist Rifle, but I have no white gems to pick, so I'm going to reroll Lightstone. That's perfect. Exactly what I want to see. And we got another white stone. So this will turn into Purification, and then that'll just help. It'll be an additional damage proc that'll just nuke packs, like you saw. That one right there, it procced on that pack, killed the whole thing. Before my bullets even reached it. You saw me hanging out in a corner there because that's where the light well was. That's fine to do as long as there's time left in the match. But you see here, I'm getting close to the enemy count. I want to be hanging out in the middle so I can shoot the mobs wherever they spawn. If you're way in the corner of the map when you should be finishing off the last set of mobs, then you could potentially have to travel home a map, and that'll add a couple seconds that you don't want to add for no reason. Two defensive options, damage option, just pick the damage option. Here's the Eagle Eye I was talking about, so I'll grab that here. Alright, and the last weapon, we want Liquefaction, which is majority blue. We have a blue gem right here. This red gem looks tempting just because it's a tier 3, has a whole bunch of stats on it. But we really don't need the extra stats to just kill everything right now. So game's giving us blue gems, so we're going to take the blue gems until we get 2 of them. And then we can maybe re-roll for some slightly better stats on our weapon. But this wave 17, you want to be really careful on, because the mob spawns on this map are really sparse. So you'll be used to just like instantly refilling your HP on another wave, and then you get to this wave, and there's just not a lot of mobs to hit, so you aren't getting a lot of health back. So just be really careful when you're on this wave. Here I'm nearing the end of the wave, so I tried to center up. Alright, we have one more wave where we kill mobs. The next one's a boss wave, but since we have one more wave where we're killing mobs, I'm going to grab the range. Out of these, I'm going to grab the boost. There. And this time it didn't give us a blue option, but the other stat that I think is really good on the Fate Weaver is potency, because it gives you that discharge that'll just nuke a pack before your bullets even have a chance to reach it. So we're going to grab the potency. Alright, still no blue option. I think I'm going to spend some of my rerolls now just to guarantee I get a blue. There we go, we got the blue. Put that on. There was a lightstone there, but at this point, don't really need the extra healing. It probably would have been slightly more optimal to grab that, and then spend the rest of my rerolls to get the blue on the next wave, because that's, yeah, probably like a 99% chance of finding another blue. So, but we're just gonna grab the blue for now. Oh, I got really close to killing myself there. Getting near the end of the round, so I'm gonna try to hang out in the middle. There we go. And that time I got myself low on purpose. I was looking at my HP. I don't need to re-roll for gems, because I already have guaranteed liquefaction on this, as long as I don't put another green gem on it. Which you're guaranteed to never be forced to do. So, all these options are pretty lackluster, so I'm going to re-roll. The thing I'm looking for is probably elemental damage to increase my burn. Physical damage is okay. I think I'm just going to full re-roll for elemental, though. There's the elemental, I got it. And here, I don't have any rerolls left. If I did, maybe I spend all my rerolls, try to get the optimal gem, since I have a lot of flexibility here. Just, if you don't have a lot of flexibility, I would just take what you can get, not mess up your build at the last second. Best one out of these, I'm just going to grab the damage, since it's a boss wave. I don't really care about the potency anymore. Damage will maybe make like a 0.1 second difference on the boss. Alright, and you see I got, that one was a little slow, but you see I got the bug there. He didn't go into phase 2. He got down to probably like 10% HP, and then he stopped taking damage. But then my burn ticked, and it killed him. So there's the run. There's my final stats. I think that was a pretty bad run, actually, all things considered. But I did get the full build together, so I think it has a good showcase of you don't really need crazy RNG to go pretty fast. You know, 732. I think this is this would probably be like 3rd on the leaderboard right now. Let me go look. Oh, we got a Calhoun doing another good time. So that'd be like 4th on the leaderboard. So still a really good time. And I think it's really easy to get a run like that. You probably have to reset maybe 2 or 3 times, but if you know what you're doing, pretty easy to get a run going like that. So if you have any questions, you can put them in the comments. I'll try to answer. If you're in the Vital Shell Discord, I've been hanging out over there, so you can talk over there too. Alright, peace.